It is so easy to start streaming for one reason, like wanting to have fun or wanting to just game with your friends. And then once you start seeing the numbers move, now you're checking your analytics. Now you're wanting to grow. Now you're wondering, could I quit my day job and do this full time one day? And guess what? Now your original reason of wanting to just have fun is no longer matching your actions of wanting to grow, and you're gonna eventually burn out. And that's the thing about burning out as a streamer. It doesn't always happen just because you're working too hard. Sometimes it happens because you're working towards something that you don't truly want, or you're not even sure of what you're working towards anymore. In this specific example, when we're starting off streaming because we want to have fun, having fun means that you are just internally motivated. You don't need anybody from the outside to really acknowledge you. You're having a grand old time. It doesn't matter who does or does not come by your stream. The problem is when you start seeing growth. Having fun is now put in the back seat, and now you're adding pressure to something that was originally light and fun and airy. Wanting to grow your stream now has you needing that external motivation, which now depends on other people to interact with you. So now if you have a stream and nobody comes by, now you're disappointed about it because you're wanting to grow. So this is a time where we as streamers need to be 100% honest with ourselves with what we actually want. And guess what? The best part about this is there's no wrong answer. The only wrong answer is if you start lying to yourself about what you think you want. So in my opinion, there are two really easy questions that you can ask yourself to determine which way you need to go. The first question is, why am I streaming? Simple enough, right? And some answers for this could be, I'm streaming to have fun. It's a creative thing for me. I want to have that social connection with people. I want to get monetized and I want to get paid for doing this. I want to become huge and famous. Or is it a mix of some things? The second question to ask yourself is, would I still be happy streaming if, and then you ask yourself questions that involve the participation of others, aka that external motivation. So you could be like, would I be happy streaming if I never hit partner? If I never made any money from it, if I never had more than 3 viewers, or if I never went full time. And remember, there are no wrong answers to this. It's okay if you want to stream to get money. It's okay if you want a ton of followers. Never let anyone make you feel like that's the wrong way to stream. But the most important part about these two questions is you have to be honest with yourself. Really think about what your actual answer is instead of what you think the answer is. Because we're doing this because we want to get ourselves out of that burnout loop. So now that we've been honest with ourselves and we have a better idea of why we're streaming, now we need to figure out what feeling aligned, aka the why behind why we're streaming, and our actions match. One way is that you just feel comfortable with the effort that you're putting in because it actually matches what you want. For example, if you only stream for fun, that might mean some months you stream 3 to 5 times and other times you stream 1 time, and you are absolutely fine with it either way because you are streaming to have fun, not to grow, not to get partner, because you want to do it. Another way is you don't resent the amount of work it takes you to get to what you want. For example, if you're really wanting to grow, you don't resent having a schedule, you don't resent having to network, you don't resent having to compromise the games maybe that you want to stream. Another way to tell that you're aligned is that you answered the previous questions with ease and you felt good and you did not feel conflicted. You were like, yeah, I want to stream for fame. And would I be happy if I never hit partner and I never made money from this? Absolutely not. You answered it with full confidence and you don't feel bad about it. That tells me that you're aligned with what you know you want to get from streaming, but also your behaviors are matching that too. Another good sign that you're aligned is that you do regular self-check-ins and you adjust if your priorities ever shift. Now, I streamed for 7 years, and throughout that time, it was a hobby for me. I did it for fun. I did it for part-time. I tried growing, and at one point, it was my full-time job. Throughout all of those transitions, it's really important to do those self-check-ins, because if you're going from streaming for fun to it now being your full-time job, there are a lot of mindset shifts that need to happen for you to make that transition successfully. And one last really good way to tell, before you make any major decisions, you can ask yourself, does this align with my reason for streaming? And the answer is yes. This could be for simple decisions or huge decisions. It could be just making a schedule align with my reason for streaming. Because if you're just streaming for fun, you don't really need a schedule, right? But if you're streaming for your full-time job, having a schedule will probably be a little bit better than just streaming when you want, for the most part. Or maybe you're thinking about going to TwitchCon. You're like, I really want to network. I really want to get to know people. And you're also streaming full-time. You can ask yourself, does this align with my reason for streaming? And in that case, I would say yes. Because if you're doing it full time, that networking and that collabing and speaking with the brands could be really, really beneficial for you in the long run. So even though we've gotten used to thinking of burnout as being us working too hard, sometimes it's just because we are misaligned with what we want and what we're actually doing. If you ever feel uneasy, overwhelmed, or guilty about any process in streaming, that's a sign, in my opinion, that something is off and it needs to be addressed. We as streamers need to give ourselves that time to reflect and get clear on what we actually want. There are some people out here that don't want a community. It is a lot of work to run a community. And guess what? That is absolutely okay. And if they sit here and they listen to what everybody else says, like, oh, you should want a community, you should be nice to everybody that comes by, they will be miserable. And I don't think that we should guilt trip people into doing things that they are not comfortable with or that don't align with their goals. And it's simply because when your actions actually match your goals, streaming is no longer this draining, awful, dreadful thing. It's fulfilling, it's fun, it's light, and we love that.